The term auteur has become nearly ubiquitous in scholarly discussions about influential motion picture directors. The word is usually applied to filmmakers that are able to exert an unparalleled level of control over their works. Though auteur theory could very well be criticized for its tendency to undermine the efforts of a whole cast and crew for the sake of idolizing one person, it's hard to ignore that in many cases these well-regarded directors develop clear traces of a signature style. More recently, however, the term has expanded to the discussion of music video directors. If the theory was contested in regards to feature filmmaking, it is undoubtedly even more problematic here. Diane Railton and Paul Watson explore this issue in the book Music Video and the Politics of Representation, citing the musical artist as a prime point of contention. They state that it is not just the sheer presence of the performer, the fact that we can see them, but rather we get to see them articulate the words and sentiments of the song. Unlike a feature film in which the actors are performing based on someone else's script, music video often features the musical artist, visually presented in line with their public image, and miming and/or lip-syncing to a song that they most likely wrote. Then looking at music video through the director-as-auteur lens, one can't help but notice a strange dichotomy between the images, which are crafted by the director, and the song, which the artist has created. With that said, it might seem strange then to even consider music video directors as auteurs. Despite this, highly influential directors like Michel Gondry, Mark Romanek, Chris Cunningham, and Hype Williams, among an ever-growing list of others, have been labeled as auteurs. Among these videomakers is Spike Jonze. Beginning his filmmaking career with skateboarding documentaries, he eventually shifted into music video production in the mid-90s. The timing is important as in December of 1992, MTV had begun listing directors' names along with the song credits at the start and end of each video. This change gave rise to a newfound importance for the directors, and many viewers started to notice that Jonze's name was popping up rather frequently. His bread and butter quickly became creating unique videos for alternative rock singles, acting as Carol Vernalis describes in her book Unruly Media, like an anthropologist in the field, and thereby embracing a style that deliberately reflects sandbox aesthetics. Even early on, Jonze proved that he had a knack for combining various allusions and intertextual references to create memorable pastiches. The Beastie Boys' Sabotage famously parodies 1970s police shows, while Bjork's It's Oh So Quiet embraces visuals heavily inspired by classic Hollywood musicals. Perhaps the prime example is Weezer's Buddy Holly, which borrows heavily from the 70s sitcom Happy Days, ironically itself a celebration of 50s nostalgia. Now, this isn't to say that Jonze was the only one utilizing pastiche. Other contemporaries like Michel Gondry were using intertextuality in their videos as well. So why then has Jonze been singled out as being intrinsically linked with this practice? Well, I believe that his intentions for using these references is the key to understanding why. Let's take a deeper dive into some examples. Albeit a later work from his video making career, the video for Tenacious D's Wonder Boy is a great example of why Jonze's approach is special. Tenacious D, for those who don't know, is a comedy rock duo formed by actors turned musicians Jack Black and Kyle Gass. Their lyrics often poke fun at their unlikely rock star image, and Wonder Boy is no exception. In this song, the duo writes semi-autobiographically about the creation of the band, while perhaps embellishing on some aspects of their talent. Black assumes the role of the titular Wonder Boy, and Gass plays his nemesis, Young Nasty Man. We are told that both possess supernatural powers such as levitation and telekinesis, and after a period of intense rivalry, they decide to join forces and form, quote, a band the likes of which had never been seen. Though the lyrics do somewhat allude to it, Jonze decides to fully adopt a medieval and mythological aesthetic for the video. The vast mountainous landscapes, snowy cliff faces, the deadly beast lurking deep within its cave, and the chivalrous costuming call to mind fantasy films such as Ridley Scott's Legend, or perhaps even more obviously Peter Jackson's first Lord of the Rings film, which was released rather close to this video, just at the tail end of the year prior. At first glance then, this video may just seem like Jack Black being Jack Black, performing in a wildly over-the-top manner to poke fun at his own anti-heroic appearance. And that may very well be a valid reading, however I think the concept goes a bit deeper than that. Despite the inherent ridiculousness of the video, Black, Gass, and Jonze approach the whole affair quite seriously. The sets are elaborate, the cinematography is tastefully done, and the green screen work is very convincing. Really, if it weren't for the music, as well as the laughable anticlimax of an ending, it could easily be mistaken as a legitimate fantasy film upon first viewing. This seriousness is important because many hard rock and heavy metal bands put on similar tough guy personas and adopt the same sorts of overly theatrical imagery. Whereas these so-called real bands adopt these aesthetics with extraordinary conviction, Black, Gass, and Jonze aren't afraid to point out the inherent silliness in all of it. Going back to Rylton and Watson's discussion, I think Wonder Boy presents a kind of shared auteurship between the three, with Black and Gass of course providing a fun track that alludes to these themes, and with Jonze bringing these themes to light in the video through pastiche. Humor is important in the discussion of Jonze's work, as bands that lacked humor tended to achieve little to no success in their collaborations with him. The video for Dinosaur Jr.'s Feel the Pain is one such example. The song's lyrics seem to be very somber and introspective, with no clear inspirations for pastiche or parody. With not much to go off of, Jonze strangely decides to place the duo in a game of urban golf in New York City. Between taking shots, they speed around in a golf cart and even beat the daylights out of some businessmen in Central Park. Despite sounding funny in concept, it just falls flat in execution. The only real moment worth the laugh is when Jonze himself peers out of his truck to watch the golf ball fly by. Sal Austerlitz describes this misfire in his book Money for Nothing as what happens when Jonze is matched with performers whose aura does not sit right with his own. Even though these are just two examples, I think it becomes clear when examining his work that Jonze works best when A, he can work with artists that share his quirky sense of humor, and B, the artist's music provides him with opportunities for pastiche and or parody. Of course, it's important to note that the artist is key for both of these conditions, which brings us back to the problem of the director-as-auteur theory. As you may have noticed, and as I alluded to in my discussion of Wonder Boy, I ultimately think that the director as well as the artist share auteurship in most cases. In most successful music video, it very well seems that both parties are fundamentally involved in the creative process, and I would very well argue that Jonze's work reflects that.